All right. First and foremost, I want to thank whoever is viewing this for tuning into the first video on this channel. I hope to be able to provide a unique viewpoint on some things in baseball, and it's largely going to be hitting related. So, I appreciate whoever's listening for hearing what I have to say. Um, so here we've got a hitter, and I'm going to go into what this presentation is showing us, the changes that he made in his swing within the session, and how this presentation led us to make certain decisions to lead to those changes. So it's all about educated guesses, right? We look at something, we get information. Based on that information, we're able to decide what this hitter may need and how that will put him in a position to have success. So let's start with the picture on the left here, this face-on view of the lower half. What we see is a pretty clear twist at the knee. We've got this distal femur IR, this proximal tibial ER, this spin down and in, this spin up and out. We see that kneecap getting pulled up and away by that VL. We've got a VM. We got an expansion here through that distal VM area. Fluid buildup there. That's not that VM VL relationship is very not exactly one to one. So we've got this screw home knee here, right? And so that's a knee that's without the ability to screw back into IR, essentially screw back over the top of itself. We're going to have some issues pushing into the ground. So we push into the ground with an orientation at the pelvis, and we see what we see on the right here. So if you look at the feet here and you compare the shadows under the right and the left foot, we'll see some shadowing under the right foot compared to the left foot, right? So that left foot is much heavier down in the ground. And what I want to point to also is the shape of the Achilles, right? On this right side, we have a pretty full, I guess you could say, Achilles. On the left, we have a somewhat thinner Achilles. And so that thinness is going to be due to this left side moving forward in space faster than that right side. That's going to essentially create this yielding action at the Achilles. We'll even see a directional change here as this Achilles kind of goes this direction, being pulled by this medial gastroc here. You see this is getting the bejesus squeezed out of it compared to this side, and that's where that pull is coming from. All of this really just demonstrates this aggressive spinning out of this left lower leg. And then on top of it, we have an incredible amount of down force, right? And we see the expansion here, this down and in here, and the spinning out up here. You can look at the crease demonstrating that, right? All in all, this shows, number one, first and foremost, a lot of down force and a lot of forward momentum on this left side. This down force is going to be up top here due to a lot of orientation. You can call it anterior pelvic tilt. You can call it anterior orientation. Does not matter to me. Won't get offended either way. Long story short, that left side of the pelvis, yes, the pelvis has multiple sides. The pelvis is not one bone. Let's get that out of the way. That left side of the pelvis is dumping itself forward, driving down force. Essentially, this is down force. This is not authentic internal rotation. This is an orientation pushing aggressively down into the ground. So that is the presentation that we're looking at here for this particular hitter. We've got this screw home knee. We've got this down force coming from up top. And we've got this left side pushing forward faster than this right side. Okay, a quick review of the presentation before we get into the swings. We've got this anterior orientation on the left side of the pelvis, applying a lot of compensatory downforce, smushing him down into the ground, making this left side very heavy. We've got this twist at the knee, making it difficult to push volume back up. So again, it's twisted down and in, up and out. Can't untwist itself to apply the necessary force to push volume back up. And we've got this entire lower leg that is spun out. So that's what we're dealing with here. And we see this in our initial setup on the left in this before. So what we're seeing here, again, we're down and forward on the left. This left lower leg is spun out. Look at the direction of the kneecap. We are having difficulty even getting our head out and around back to the pitcher because we are so far down forward on this left side. So on the right side, we see a lot of very different presentation. So On this right side, we're applying authentic internal rotation down force. This is not an orientation at the pelvis holding us, smushing us down into the ground. This is authentic internal rotation. We see the untwisting of the knee here. That allows this to authentically push down into the ground and drive volume up through shape. So he's applying down force through a shape of the pelvis that will allow his volume to get pushed up rather than orientation of the pelvis that is going to hold his volume down. So how do we know that? Look at the hand set. His hands just climbed up there on their own. I didn't cue that. That wasn't something we discussed. I actually would rarely cue somebody to do that because I don't think that it's valuable to force somebody into a space in their setup that they can't access authentically, because we need room to move from our setup. So again, this wasn't something that was cued. This was something that happened on its own because of the ability to push down into the ground through shape change that allows volume to come up. This is a narrow ISA. This is a narrow guy. We need that volume to be able to be pushed up. So we got that center of mass now up, and we see the head is now able to cleanly get both eyes on the pitcher. So we'd have a lot less down force down and forward on that left side here. So that's the setup. Now we're going to go into first move here, and on the left we see this push across from right to left. So he's trying to work within a space in the backside of his pelvis that he doesn't have on his best day, but definitely doesn't have under these circumstances where he's so smushed down, pushed forward on that left side. He's trying to push himself into a space he doesn't have. So this left side just stays forward the entire time, can't really accept what's getting sent its way. And we're going to pause right here at what I guess would be peak leg lift here. In this instance, we're going to drive volume up. So now we got a little bit more of a leg kick, helping facilitate this upward movement. So we're going to essentially try and make ourselves lighter. We have this left side that is very dense on this athlete. We are going to use a stride pattern that might help facilitate a lightening effect. So we make ourselves lighter, make it easier to capture and hold that IR shape, push back up. We get to top of the leg kick here. And it's pretty cool to notice how now we have a right side here that is moving forward faster than this left side. Here, the volume stays down and forward on the left. This right side can't really get going moving forward. Forward as in towards the camera, faster than this left side to capture an authentic, what people may refer to as load. So we're in a pretty good spot here on this right to send everything back down and around. So we'll start on the left here. So as we get going towards the baseball, this left side again is very far forward. So what do we have to do? The bat can be used as a tool to our benefit or as a hindrance. So if my backside is pushing aggressively forward in space, I'm going to need something to catch myself and bring myself back. So my bat path goes out away from the body and then back in. I go snap hook to second base. So again, I'm using essentially my swing path out of necessity to bring myself back in, out and around that ball. Both of these pitches are exact same location, down and in, verified by hit tracks. Something, when you're comparing swings, you need to control for that. Both of these pitches, BP fastballs, down and in, exact same location, same speed. So for now, let's pause at contact. Here, we don't have the necessity to bring our hands. Our hands are going to go away from us as our left side creeps forward quickly. This doesn't happen as aggressively here. We don't have that pulling back in of the hands. We can keep them in tight, work the barrel through the baseball instead of around the baseball. So we'll try and sync it up close to the same point around contact. And again, we see a little bit of a different position here. Here we see this lean back, try and create space sort of move here. Here we're a little bit more upright. This is the volume staying down and forward on the left. This is the volume being able to get sent back out around because it was initially caught in the first place to get sent back around. This is volume that gets stuck down and forward on the left. And we go through finish, and we'll notice we're able to work a little bit more length through the baseball here compared to here. So again, these were both BP fastballs, exact same location, down and in, roll over to second base, line drive up the middle. Hope everybody was able to take something away from this. I enjoyed talking about it. Appreciate everybody getting through the boring stuff at the beginning so we could get into the swing analysis at the end, which everybody enjoys.